Welcome back, and it's time now for the news. And our first story. Calls for greater consultation among parliamentary leaders are intensifying ahead of the House's upcoming recall. Speaker Alban Bagman's decision to declare 4 seats vacant has sparked controversy, prompting Majority Leader Alexander Afenyomarkin to file a Supreme Court writ challenging its constitutionality. As Parliament reconvenes on the 7th day of November, former Ghanaian ambassador to the Netherlands, Dr. Tony Edu, has advised the Majority Leader to seek resolution through dialogue rather than legal action. There's more in this report.
The Supreme Court has come under some criticism after rejecting Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagman's application to overturn the court ruling that suspended his declaration of 4 parliamentary seats vacant. The declaration of the vacancy has led to disagreement between the majority and the minority. With the substantive matter set to be determined on November 11, lawyer with the Center for Social Justice, Ni Ama Adi, says the Supreme Court must consider its paneling, especially on political matters, to cure the perception of political influence.
And it is not a situation that our Supreme Court lack judges, but we have 15 of them. So if 5 ought to be constituted, and there is the perception that the inclusion of some members of these 5 can raise eyebrow or give the perception that fairness is not delivered, then there is a problem. And I think that is what we are facing now.
Here is former Ghana ambassador to the Netherlands, Dr. Tony Edu's prescription for how the disagreement among Parliament leadership can be resolved before November 7 recall.
What Afenyomarkin and the Supreme Court should know is that political matters can be negotiated, not legislated, not subject to constitutional interpretation, where there is no grounds for constitutional interpretation. Afenyomarkin can still get government business going if he comes down from his high horse. So you sit in the minority side, so what? You negotiate for government business to continue.
Meanwhile, private legal practitioner and member of the Movement for Change, Andrew Apia Dankwa, believes the impasse is needless.
I think it's beyond contestation that we find ourselves in a very needless constitutional crisis.
Needless?
Yeah, very, very needless. Well, that's my personal opinion. Because, you see, under the 97, you yourself should vacate your seat.
Principle of automaticity?
Yeah.
Okay.
In my view, that's unfortunately, the MPs concerned failed to show that integrity and stayed in Parliament, even though, in my view, it's clear that they've breached the terms of Article 97 1G.
It is expected that the consultation between leadership of Parliament and prominent Ghanaians, including the Council of State, will resolve the problem before the House resumes.
Now, with just 32 days until the presidential and parliamentary elections, NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has launched a fresh battle over digitalization, with NDC flag bearer John Mahama questioning Mahama's grasp of economic matters, particularly his understanding of how digitalization drives economic growth. Addressing supporters at the Bawumia for Jobs event in Accra, Dr. Bawumia warned Ghanaians not to bring Mr. Mahama closer to the presidency, arguing that the former president's limited knowledge of the global digital economy and inconsistent leadership style could hinder national development. Dr. Bawumia also pledged to create thousands of jobs and establish a fintech fund for tech startups if elected. Carlos Caloni has more from the Boteman Sports Complex here in Accra.
The atmosphere at the Boteman Sports Complex was electric as over 2,000 young people, both in person and online, gathered to hear the NPP flag bearer share his vision for tackling youth unemployment in the country. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia pledged to equip 1 million youth with IT skills and launch a $100 million fintech fund to support Ghanaian tech startups.
I want to see Ghana build the digital talent we require for the 4th industrial revolution. You need digital talent. This will mean providing digital and software skills to hundreds and thousands of youth. In collaboration with the private sector, we will train at least 1 million youth in IT skills, including software developers, coders, to provide job opportunities worldwide. We will establish a fintech fund with a seed capital of $100 million to attract additional private sector funding to support Ghanaian startups.
Dr. Bawumia also criticized the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, calling him an inconsistent leader who fails to recognize digitalization's role in economic transformation, urging Ghanaians to keep Mr. Mahama away from the presidency.
My opponent, the former president, to put it mildly, is very inconsistent. He opposed free senior high school, saying it was bogus and will collapse the economy. But today he says he introduced it. He, as president, introduced the teacher licensure exams. But today he says he opposes it. He abolished teacher and nursing training allowance. He said he would abolish it even if it cost him the presidency. But today he says he will continue to pay them. He is not committed to it. It's just for political expedience. He has touted in the past infrastructure as one of his achievements. But because our infrastructure record is superior to his, today he says that infrastructure doesn't matter. How can we have a leader who doesn't appreciate the value of digitalization in a digital global economy? He should not be allowed close to the presidency with that mindset.
Well, the big question we've been asking the youth who are gathered here is how sure are they that the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, would be able to deliver on the jobs he's promising them?
He has done it before. He has enrolled so many digitalization projects in Ghana, which is obvious for everyone to see. So we believe in him and we have confidence that he will do it when he comes.
I used to go around to look for where to buy just electricity. Now I can do it and pay via Momo. These are practical solutions, and given the opportunity, I tend to believe him than any other candidate in the sense that these are deliverable and they are clear there for me to see.
Well, the youth of the MPP are so confident that the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, if given the opportunity, would be able to deliver the jobs they so much need for the next 4 years. Reporting from the Boteman Sports Complex here in Accra, my name is Carlos Caloni for Joy News.
Now, the National Democratic Congress says it will stay vigilant during the December elections, with presidential candidate John Mahama stating that the party would leave nothing to chance. As John Mahama concluded his tour of the northern region, Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu called for greater transparency, urging that serial numbers for all printed ballot papers be made available to help ensure a fair election. Maxwell Agbagba reports.
Are you ready for Women Development Bank?
On the final day of his tour of the northern region, the NDC presidential candidate John Mahama visited the Tolon, Sagnerugu, Nanton, Tamale North, Tamale Central and Tamale South constituencies, where he outlined several promises and initiatives aimed at addressing local needs and enhancing national policies. In the Tolon constituency, John Mahama promised that under future NDC government, a bridge will be constructed over the Volta River to connect Tolon district to the Daboya district. Additionally, he committed to decentralizing recruitment into state security agencies to ensure fairness and access across regions.
My father, Kasulana, spoke about several things, and one of the main issues that we've had on the drawing board for a long time is the bridge over the Volta River to connect Tolon district to Daboya district. And that has been on the drawing board for a long time. I thought that in the 8 years MPP was in power, they would work on it. They haven't. So it's NDC that will come and do that bridge. So that if you are in Tolong and you are going to Kumasi, you don't need to go back all the way to Tamale. You just cross over into Daboya to Busunu and then left to Damango Junction, then right to Buipe, and then you're on your way.
While in the Nanton constituency, he focused on infrastructure development, promising to establish a new senior high school if the NDC wins power. John Mahama also made commitments to the Muslim community, promising to institute a 2-day Eid holiday and expand access to Islamic schools if elected.
We're going to build a modern senior high school in this district. It is not acceptable that Nanton district, with the reputation it has, does not have a senior high school.
He further emphasized that the NDC would resist any illegal conduct during the elections to ensure fairness.
We're going to make sure that the election is transparent and fair. In the past, we have always trusted that everybody who is a stakeholder in this election will behave in a neutral and non-partisan manner. But it doesn't always work. In 2020, when we went to supervise the printing of ballot papers, after we finished printing the ballot papers, we packed them, we all signed, our agents left the printing presses. What happened? They started printing ballot papers again. And some of those ballot papers found their way into the hands of the NPP party. On the election day, we caught NPP agents with ballot papers in their hands. We reported them to the police. Nothing happened to them. So this election, we are not taking any chances. Just yesterday, one of our election supervisors went to inspect one of the printing houses, and an NPP person came there and wanted to assault him. We know that when they print the excess ballot papers, instead of shredding them in front of the agents, they keep them and hand them over to the NPP. We are not going to allow that to happen this year. Nobody is going to get hold of any extra ballot papers to go and dump them into any ballot box. This year, we are all going to be vigilant. Timnimo ya pam.
Member of Parliament Haruna Iddrisu expressed confidence in an NDC victory, stating that the party's agenda aligns with the needs and aspirations of the people.
What we ask of you is that we need the serial numbers of every ballot paper printed for each region, for each district, and for each constituency. This is all we are demanding in the name of transparency. Our printed ballot papers is not enough. We want to know the quantity, the serial numbers. So Northern region, we want to know where our serial number starts and where it will end, so that we can follow it to Ashanti and follow it to Eastern region. If we find a ballot paper meant for Northern region in any region, we will expose your fraud and your intention for irregularity in the elections. We are very convinced, very convinced, beyond shadow of doubt, that John Dramani Mahama will win a free, fair, credible election.
Earlier, John Mahama presented a 7-seater vehicle to the Islamic Education Unit of the Ghana Education Service at a ceremony in Tamale, where Abdul Karim Bapuni, the general manager of the unit, received the vehicle. Additionally, he presented another vehicle to the Zakat and Sadaqah Trust Fund of Ghana at the recent National Muslim Conference held in Accra. He stated that the donation demonstrates his commitment to supporting the Muslim community and its institutions.
Now, the national chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, has admonished Ghanaians to desist from voting based on ethnic considerations to help bring development to the country. He was speaking to party faithful in the Kintampo South constituency as part of his 2-day tour of the Bono East region. There's more in this report.
The two-day tour of the national chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, also known as General Mosquito, began in the Kintampo South constituency, where he held community engagements with the chiefs and people of Mansie, Trehini, before wrapping up at the constituency capital in Jema. Mr. Asiedu Nketia charged the people of the area to stay away from voting based on ethnic lines and choose leaders that will help bring development to the area.
Yenkro no bi wo ha wobekọ ho no abatu oduru so a ebisi ya de wo mu wo ya to party wo ya mu enunti ya de je maha odi appointi bejira ha now the MPP boli ko mu a ya de ya beto ama na ya de ne di tu ye ho enunti momie nya bibi afiwo yi ye trese je maha ye to aba eno ne ewu mi tu mu party ewu mi tu mi nu ni tinton tan adwam tete kasa ye karo nebru.
Johnson Asiedu Nketia was, however, quick to urge the people of the Kintampo South constituency to consider voting for the NDC to help Lordina Mahama, who is a native of the community, become Ghana's first lady and in turn bring development to the community.
Lordina, anyari kurano, yaboni di ebata kuro weiswa. Ona mbabi no bisi si unia si ufri Lordina kuro. Wane beti yasisi. Enti mudiani Lordina, nyamudiani buzia o. Buzia no ya di ayakura ya somno atonachile. Mudiani Lordina, mudina chi. Na oye bibia, obi edokwa ihu a, osua ohia aboma. Odokwa ihu na ma na mu a, ana ma ne ho ya din. Na Lordina ba ye di obeye bia de boa Jema constituency. Jema district ni ato aba na man 4.0. Mo first lady kura se wa lusu wa ni kuro. The first lady kura wa lusu wa ni kuro. E dey ni ngwase na chance.
He further disclosed that the next NDC government will make trading easy for both buyers and sellers by introducing a scale to be used in measuring farm produce, a means that will help both buyers and sellers.
President John Dramani Mahama osi open nokre e wo ya dwadie mu e wo Ghana ha enunti nsihya ya deba eni say bibia ye bedi hu dwabia no ya di scale besi woni akani e ka say 1 kilo ya say ya oba na ya pe wasemo ya pe wasemo 1 kilo 1 kilo.
Former Member of Parliament for Akotia constituency, Baba Jamal, admonished Muslim voters to desist from voting for the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, who, according to him, is not a faithful Muslim.
Mahamudu Bawumia, al-Muslim, ahul Muslim inti, yankon kotumano. Banyami pesa mutia zeme se, ayenu krese, kremoni, wunyani kremoni, nansu kremoni, wunyani kremonia okanokwe.
Anna Sabit, Joy News, Jema.
Now, the Northern Regional Branch of the Convention People's Party has criticized its former national chairman and Nandom Paramount Chief, Professor Edmund Dele, for endorsing NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama as Ghana's incoming president. Professor Dele made this endorsement during Mahama's courtesy visit to his palace in the Upper West region. However, at a press conference in Tamale, CPP Regional Vice Chairman Abubakar Abdullahi Madugu questioned the endorsement, noting that the CPP had its own presidential candidate who was a viable contender.
The National Democratic Congress flag bearer John Dramani Mahama was in the Upper West region a couple of weeks ago to canvass vote ahead of the December polls. During the tour of the region, a former national chairman of the Convention People's Party and now paramount chief of the Nandom traditional area, now Professor Edmund Dele, addressed him as incoming president when he paid a courtesy call on him. He also added that Mr. Mahama was not a driver's mate, but this has since sparked reactions from supporters of the Convention People's Party. Addressing the media in Tamale, the Northern Regional Vice Chair of the CPP, Abubakar Abdullahi Madugu, said its former chairperson may be out of touch with realities on the ground.
In our humble view, his comments could be interpreted to mean that the people of Nandom, and by extension, the people of Ghana, should vote for the NDC and John Mahama, who in the words of the chief was the incoming president. Out of respect for our revered chief, former CPP chairman, we can only assume that age is catching up on him, or he was poorly advised. For the avoidance of doubt, we would like to make it clear to the Nandom as well as the whole Ghana that in these 2024 general elections, there are potential parties and individuals offering themselves as vehicles for change. Real change or true change or progressive change cannot be the NDC. We believe that change is CPP, as the CPP has its own candidate in the person of Her Excellency Nana Frimpongma Sapong Kuma. So out of all respect, we say or ask Professor, please come again. Please leave us alone. The CPP is not for sale. In the name of great CPP, there is peace.
Surveyors have been called upon to maintain high ethical standards to uphold trust, professionalism, and integrity within the industry. The charge was made during a graduation ceremony for new surveyors who have completed the GYAM Institute of Technology and Industrialization in Surveying and Mapping at a ceremony held at the University of Cape Coast. There is more in this report.
The ceremony witnessed the graduation of students in project management and surveying. The surveyors were trained in modern surveying techniques, legal frameworks, and ethics. Speaking at the graduation ceremony, Director of the Institute, Engineer Dr. Ebenezer Jamra, expressed concerns over reports of unethical practices among some surveyors and urged surveyors in the country to equip themselves in the best practices that will help reduce issues of land litigation.
You know, we have a lot of land conflict issues in Ghana. No matter how the Lands Committee, the Commission is doing to curb these manners, the problem begins from the field. And that is why it is important to train the person going to the field. So the person would know the do's and don'ts of land demarcation. So when they come to GITI, we give them practical, skilled land surveying training. Some of them are having their master's survey, as I said, but they come for that skill training so that together we can build nature. We cannot sit down for these land issues to be killing people. Because of land issues, marriages are collapsing. Because of land issues, people are disowning their children. Because of land issues, people are getting heart attack. Because of land issues, so many things are happening. People are being killed. How long can we continue to sit in like this as a country? And that's why GITI, JAM Institute of Technology and Industrialization, have come to collaborate with institutions like the MBTI and IPMP to train professionals to help in the land sector and also to help in project management.
Professor David Aka, Executive Director of IPMP, urged the new surveyors to engage in continuous professional development. He also encouraged surveyors who have been practicing without any certification to leverage the opportunity that GITI offers.
These days, government has made it more easier for us because CTVET has given us opportunity for us to have several certifications through their grants to be even at the highest level. And so a certificate from the CTVET and then in collaboration with GTI, I think it's important for people or for those in that field to come and take that program.
The ceremony concluded with the awarding of certificates to students. Some of them spoke to Joy News.
It is not particularly meant for a particular field. Even in your home, if you know project management, you can manage your home very well. With the little resources you have, you make every project have a start time and an end time. With the resources, you're able to deliver your goals. And this has been what I've learned from the course.
Thank you for staying. Now, the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors, GARIA, is advocating more awareness on the importance of the insolvency law in Ghana. GARIA is of the view that most stakeholders are unaware of the tenets of the law in addressing serious situations when the need arises for a company to declare bankruptcy. Speaking at the launch of the second edition of the GARIA Journal, the president of GARIA, Felix Addo, said training more insolvency practitioners would help turn around struggling companies.
Our insolvency practitioners have acquired lots of experiences over years. Some have acquired experiences in outside countries. The insolvency profession itself in Ghana is a very young profession, okay? And we are now trying to make sure that issues like administration, turnaround, rescue are brought to the fore, because we don't want companies to go into liquidation when they could be turned around. Yeah. But you notice that in a way it's new here. The laws, the serial law is what allowed us to now do administrations and rescue in Ghana. These types of techniques have been used in the advanced economies for several decades. And so they have acquired experience. We don't have experiences of that nature here. In fact, since the law was passed in about 5 years ago, only 3 administrations or attempts to rescue companies have been done in Ghana. And so there's a shortage of expertise. There's a shortage, a dearth of knowledge base, okay? And this is where the thought leadership, which the journal brings, is so critical.
Let's talk fraud now, and the Cybersecurity Authority has revealed that it has received reported cases of online investment scams of about 149, amounting to nearly 2 million Ghana cedis in value. Speaking at the PricewaterhouseCoopers Cyber Forum in Accra, head of the National Computer Emergency Response Team at the Cybersecurity Authority, Stephen Kujo-Sechi, urged businesses to build robust IT structures to guard against cyber threats.
Business, probably across all the sectors, your endpoints are important. So what devices are your users using within the company? So making sure those devices are well protected. So not just the laptops, but even mobiles. So a lot of us go into our offices and there's Wi-Fi available. So the question is that Wi-Fi connection such that if there's malware on your device, it doesn't get into the network, the office network. So how you structure your network to allow such access, what we call bring your own device, is important. So the people responsible for the IT architecture for the network should be able to segment or isolate all the key infrastructure. So the network that is handling, let's say, your key service, if you're a bank where your core banking stuff should be quite different from where someone who just wants to do his email is doing it from. Those are some of the best practices. You also need to, even your users' behavior online. So that's where the culture comes on. So are you allowing people to visit just any website within the office, or do you have controls? During working hours, are people using social media or using torrent sites that could potentially be used to download malware into the network? So those are policies that you also need to have. So the fact about having the right kind of policies for environment, access controls, even physical access. Who has access to your server room, for example? Do you know who has it? Those are things you can put in place as an entity or an enterprise to protect yourself.
It's a wrap for business, and that's how we also cap off the AM news this morning. But stay with us. The news review is up next as we're joined by our guests. We'll be right back.